Hi, good afternoon, my crafty friends. I'm Lynn from Humblebee Craft Studio, and I'm here to craft with you this afternoon. But before we get started, I want to tell you just a little bit about what goes on around here. And so my husband and I are furniture refinishers, upcyclers, junk to treasure, and all those kinds of things. But on top of it, I love to DIY. And crafting is my game. Love to do it. There's a couple of things that I want you to do. And first, that's to follow along. If you follow me, you will get notifications about whenever I go live. I'm usually pretty much 4:30, but today I got a little bit extra excited and I thought, well, I just want to move from prepping surfaces to actually creating. And so that's what I'm here to do with you. Now, everything that I do here and things that I use, the description has a supply list, and I also have links to particular items that I am using. So without further ado, let's get going. So what I am doing today is called Always Be, and I'm using a stencil from Magnolia Design Co. This is a reusable silkscreen stencil. So if you can think back to what silk screening was, this is kind of the new technology of silkscreen stencils. And the best part is that they do stick to your surface and they're reusable. That's what I love. They're also really friendly. So if you really mess up, you simply wash them off and you start over. So it's absolutely great. So we're going to be using this stencil. We're also going to be using this round, and this is new from Magnolia Design Co. And so it's got all of our little beading around it. You can hang it, or you can add legs to it and make it a tray, whatever you want. Now the colors that I'm choosing to use with my stencil today are Pansy, Sugar Plum, Magnolia Green, and Coal Black. But before I even started to get to this process, I thought about what I wanted to do. And so I found some yellow acrylic paint. This is called Top Notch. You can find this at JoAnn's. It's actually JoAnn brand. And I like it. What I do is I use the first coat. I'll use a Waverly white chalk paste, or whatever color, paint, whatever I'm using. And then I put an acrylic over, and I usually get that acrylic on in one fell swoop. And I forgot to grab it for you, but I used another stencil that is our Honeycomb stencil. And so I painted, and then with white chalk paste, I had done that. I did that ahead of time, and then I clear coated. I use Rust-Oleum. I use satin. I really like satin clear coat. But any of my wood surfaces that I'm doing, I make sure that, especially if I've painted those surfaces, to make sure that I clear coat. I let it dry 24 hours. That's because way back in the beginning of time, I made a mistake and I clear coated, let it dry to touch, and thought it was fine. And when I did my stencil, I pulled all the clear coat off on the back of my stencil and ruined it. So now I let it sit for 24 hours. However, this one has been sitting for about 2 weeks, maybe even 3. And so what I did at the top here, I want to make sure that I knew where my hanger was, so I just put a piece of blue painter's tape and set that there. And what I did was I came down around here, and all I did was just slap on that yellow paint. Clear coated the whole thing, did my other stencil, and then I clear coated it again because I'm going to put this entire stencil down over this, and I wanted to make sure that I could pull that up without having any trouble. I'm going to set my bow aside. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down. Now, I do know that my entire bee, actually I'm going to come down a little bit lower. Now I know my entire bee is not going to fit onto the yellow, but that's okay. So I'm just going to make sure that my entire stencil is down flat. And I'm doing that because I don't want any air bubbles. Because if you have air bubbles or a little piece of grit underneath, you can cause your chalk paste, which is what I'm using, chalk paste, to bleed underneath there, and you don't want that. It's fixable, don't get me wrong, and if it's really bad, you just wash it off. But we're going to try not to be so bad. So I'm actually going to start with my Magnolia Green. I have already stirred my chalk paste, which you do every time before you use it, to make sure it's that really nice creamy yogurt pudding type of texture. And I'm just going to go down across this, and I'm being very careful as I get close to my letters because I do not want to have the Magnolia Green bleed into the letters that I'm going to be chalking. What I'm doing is I'm coming down to my leaves, and then there's some little flowers. So I'm just going to put little dashes of green in there, and then I'm going to wipe off my excess. I'm going to come to that other side. And again, ooh, I get really close to that letter. This is so close to the color of the stencils, but I'm okay with that. We're gonna make it work. I just keep telling myself nothing in nature is perfect. So if I mess up, especially since I'm making a nature type scene, and I love these stencils that have little garlands on them from Magnolia. Okay, I've got that. Now working quickly, because I do not want my chalk paste to dry, I'm going to set aside that one, and I'm going to set my cover on there. And of course, I made a mess on my fingers, always when you want to get things done. So I'm going to pull that out of here and get going on my next one. Now, I'm actually going to go with Pansy because I want to get my Always Be Kind. Maybe I didn't stir this one today. Oh, I did. Okay. Oh, I'm going to pull a paper towel here. So yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to use my purple, and I'm going to use this Pansy color, and I'm just going to go down. See that? I almost touched that green chalk paste, and I just don't want to pull that into what I am doing. Now, a little bit about Magnolia while I am doing this. Ooh, I want to get close to that. Magnolia is a woman-owned company, and it has been around since August 1st of 2019. And, you know, if you want to craft with a discount or learn something new, it was perfect. I started as a kitnapper. I wanted to do these cool stencils on furniture. Not signs, not tier trays, not anything else, just furniture. I haven't done a lot in furniture. I found I enjoy doing this more. And quick, I'm going to take my sugar plum. So anyway, I'm doing my little flowers on the end, and what I'm doing is I'm using a paintbrush squeegee. And this just allows me to get into those little places, and I'm not going to worry so much about pulling my Magnolia Green onto here from my vines, because that just kind of all makes sense when it comes to doing things that have to do with flowers and nature. I'm going to go over here, do the same thing. Just going to pull those together. Okay, set that aside. So anyway, I started creating, and I was doing it just for fun, and here I am on, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, doing what I absolutely love. And it's fun. I don't always use the stencils when I'm crafting, but I tell you, I tried regular stenciling, and I had the cutest table that I was doing, and it turned out a complete disaster. And I actually put that aside for 2 years, and I didn't touch it. And finally, one day I was out in the back shop, and Kirk had it, and he had sanded off the stencil and was repainting it a total different color. And he said, "Do you want to stencil this?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And he said, "But you have Magnolia stencils." I said, No, I'm over that piece. So again, what I love about Magnolia is if you really mess up, you just go back. Now, normally I would wash this stencil because I want to get my chalk paste off of there as quickly as possible. If I used ink, I would have my washing tub and get it done right away. So what we have here is my Always Be Kind. And so I've got my little honeycomb over on this side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my heat gun. Kirk borrowed the other one, so this one's a little bit noisier. I'm going to knock my, come on, glue gun, stay. You can also use a hairdryer, which is perfect for this as well. And I'm just going to dry this off. Now at least that's a little more dry, so hopefully I won't make a mess of it. But I'm going to finish my Magnolia story really quick while we let this dry a little bit more. So I just kept creating and creating and absolutely fell in love with Magnolia in 3.5 years. I'm here and I'm doing all of these things that I never thought that I would do. But I will tell you, of all the things that I do, I absolutely love crafting. It's relaxing, it's my go-to, it's my me time. And I've learned that I have great little furry co-workers, and the dogs are just fine because they just lay behind me and kind of do their things. However, Briggs, the cat, love him to death. He's very curious, which ends up getting him into mischief, which usually means that everything behind me gets knocked over and sometimes broken and those kind of things. So if you are interested in Magnolia, I will have all the details in my description and include my link, and you can check it out. And just it's fun. It's a great addition to any kind of crafting that you do. And yes, I have a Cricut. I begged for a Cricut, and the only thing I've ever cut out of it is price tags. Not kidding. And I've had that probably 4.5 years, maybe 5. Yeah, my husband likes to use it, but I don't know, it's just not my thing, although once in a while maybe I'll have to pull it out and do something else. So again, I want to show you what we've got here. And yeah, give me some love on that. If you're loving it, love it up. I think this is wonderful. And you know, I made a messy bow, and as I look at this when it's done, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many ways I could embellish this, and it's killing me. Do I really want to embellish it at all, or do I want to put legs on it? And oh, I don't know. This would make a cute shirt. Can you see that on a t-shirt too? Oh, I have so many ideas for this. I love the bee. You'll see this bee show up in a lot of projects if you haven't already. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, this is killing me. I made my messy bow. I'm not happy with my messy bow. I need to clean some things up on here because it's looking kind of funny. But I do have my B on here. It's a flat button. And the reason I put the B on was so that I remembered which way the ribbon goes, because some of these ribbons, especially this larger yellow one, I didn't want that to be upside down, which is, if you were ever behind the scenes in my craft room, you would just be cracking up over all the things that go on behind the scenes, because sometimes I'm just really relaxed, and there's other times I get so excited that I'm just like, oh, gotta find this, gotta do this, I have to do it now. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I don't know, it's kind of painful. I just don't know 100% if this is what I want to do now that I see it done. I've envisioned this for weeks, and here I am, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to stand up here a little bit. Okay, I think I'm going to like this. And if I don't like it, what I'll do is I'll just go back and pop my embellishment off and put something else on, or I'll just create another one. I'm just holding that just a minute. I just want to make sure that that's on there and it's not gonna pop off, because of course if anything's gonna happen like that, it's gonna happen to me. Oh, this is just so fun. Expect to see a lot of bee things. Kind of a bee freak, but I don't know. I'm not loving the bow. I have to fix up my bow. But anyway, here is the final. Do you love it? I'm absolutely in love with this. So just a couple things to remember. Chalk paste dries quickly, so you want to work quickly with it. If you're working with wood, be sure to clear coat any painted wood that you've done. Now, what you didn't see me do was fuzz my stencil. That is because it's a well-loved stencil. I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to need to clean it off with a disinfectant wipe to bring my sticky back. But if I take really good care of my stencils, I can use them 12 to 15 times. And I don't have to use the entire stencil. I can use just the bee because I really like this bee. Whatever I want to do with it. Which also means with the stencil, there's so many things that you can do. You do what you want to do. This is what I wanted to create today, but you may find a totally different surface or another purpose for what you want to do. And it's all about you doing things your way. So enjoy, make sure you DIY any which way you want. There's all kinds of places to find inexpensive supplies, and just go for it and have fun. So until next time, which will be sooner than you think, I will see you then, and we'll get crafting again together. You enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you later, happy crafters. Enjoy the rest of your day.